Hi, I'm Stephh The Model, and this is my story. Okay, so the first time I ever experienced racism, I was about 10 or 11. I have been in foster care around this time, about 4 or 5 years. I was not alone, but I kind of just don't want to tell the story about anybody else because it's about me. So I want to say that we were approached for the first time by our first Caucasian family. I want to say that it was a mom and a dad and 3 sons who were both, or all 3, very much younger than me. And it was different. It was a different experience. This family didn't stay in Cincinnati, Ohio. They stayed in Columbus, Ohio. So we took a lot of trips out there to just see if we were going to be a good fit for each other. We thought that we were going to be a good fit for each other, but we turned out and it wasn't a good fit for each other. I just think that we may have jumped the gun early. And we probably just needed some more time to get to know each other. So that being said, we ended up getting adopted by this couple, and we moved to Columbus, Ohio. Around this time, I want to say we were, really don't want to do grades right now. So, we were still young, and we were in elementary school, and we had got enrolled in this school. I think it was called Alpine. It was called Alpine, and it seemed like a good school at first. We came in, we were greeted by some people didn't like us, and we were just ready to start the adventure off, just new settings and just figuring things out. I remember going to reading class that day, and there was a group. We were put in groups, and we were supposed to go around in a circle and read, and we all got to read except one person, and her name was Brooke. She didn't get to read because, of course, I was very argumentative a little bit back then. And I was arguing with this guy. I don't know. It was just something that he said that bugged me, and it just kind of took over her reading time. She didn't like it. So she didn't handle it lightly. We left the classroom after her not being able to read her turn and anything like that. We went to lunch and we headed to recess. I'd like to add before we go any further that my adoptive parents at the time did not inflict any racism on me or my brother. It was actually the school. So that's why the school is in the story and not about them. Yeah, so I just wanted to include that. But basically, we are at recess, and at this point in time, she comes up to me and she expresses to me that she was not happy that she didn't get to read. I didn't think it was that serious. Of course, I was a kid, so I'm just like, well, read tomorrow, read Wednesday. But she took it very serious. So she became aggressive, and when she became aggressive, it scared me. It scared me because it was like, you didn't have to be aggressive with me. You could have just talked to me, and clearly you're not going to get over this. So let's figure out another way to handle this. And I came up with the way of just going into the school straight off the playground and immediately kind of like demanding my teacher's attention. This is where everything kind of like really took a turn. When I ran into the classroom, I didn't expect for my teacher to kind of react to me in the sense of how she did. She didn't react to me like Karen. It was more like, oh, hurry up, go out in the hallway and stand by the wall. Like, it wasn't like, oh, what's wrong? What's going on? Her being understanding and trying to figure out why I was in such a panic. So when she came out, she had told me to stand by the wall. When she came outside of the classroom, she pretty much let me know, like, hey, I'm going to be sending you to the principal office, and, just kind of just bear with me for a little bit because I'm teaching class, and you kind of like came in and, it was abruptive a little bit. And that was fine. That was fine because I was panicky, and I did admit that. But I was running because I didn't know how to handle a situation, and I went to the person that I thought that I should turn to, and that was my teacher. And when she told me that I was gonna have to go to the principal office, I was shooken up a little bit. That wasn't the response that I was expecting. So when we went to the principal office, it was a meeting. It was a meeting with her, me, the principal, another person who was with me on this journey, and our parents, our adoptive parents. I would like you guys to know that we hadn't been in Columbus, Ohio longer than 15 days. We hadn't been adopted in Columbus, Ohio longer than 15 days. So we have went through a lot of traumatic situations before coming to Alpine Elementary. But this teacher didn't understand that she had ulterior motives, and she offset our story. My story. Stephh The Model story. She basically went on to tell her story and why I was in the principal office, and it kind of went a little like this. She caught me in her classroom a couple of times trying to call back to Cincinnati, Ohio, to my foster mom. At the time, her name was Janice Clay. I didn't know the area code to Cincinnati. I didn't even know my own zip code. So to be accused of being caught in the act of doing something that I never did was already, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was scary because I didn't know how severe her saying she caught me in her classroom was. And then she's like, oh, she's rude. She cussed. They are doing this and they are doing that. And she explained kids that weren't sitting in front of her. She didn't take the time out to get to know who I was, who the person who had came into the school with me was. She just felt the need to react in a manner that she seemed fit for herself at that time. In that moment, she came up with a lot of other things to say, which was enough to get us suspended. She got us suspended from Alpine Elementary. And I would like to say we were only there for a total of maybe 6 or 7 days. And it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because the kids that she explained, or the girl that she explained me to be, wasn't who I was sitting in front of her. So I couldn't scream, hey, this is not me, because I was a child and they didn't want to hear that. And it was her word versus mine. But the racism was clear. It was clear. Who creates lies to antagonize a story that was honestly a plea for help and could have been handled in such different ways? But we were more so affected by the racism because we had to leave a school in which we liked or thought we liked. We were forced to leave our adoptive home because they didn't want us, because they thought that we were bad kids. And after, she decided to do these chain of events, they just rolled in. They just rolled in. And imagine being a child in circumstances that you can't control. Everybody, there's a lot of chiefs pulling a lot of different cards and you're the only Indian. That's just like, wow, what is this? I like to pretty much just say, we left a home in which we thought was going to be able to put us in different circumstances, because the ones that we were in wasn't ideal and we didn't put ourselves in those. So when we left our adoptive parents, we came straight to Cincinnati and we begged the first foster parent we got to adopt us. And I would like to just enter the simple fact of the fact that she clouded our judgment on what love was, on what an understanding was, on what a teacher should have been, on what a leader is. And I don't know, just being there for us, she failed to do that. And like I said, the selfish act for her to lie and enhance a story that was just a plea for help, it offset a chain of events in us as kids. We instantly began to look for love in all the wrong places because we were confused now. What was clear wasn't clear anymore. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much because you don't know what you did. The person that we climbed into bed and asked to adopt us, she don't know what she did. But it's just the simple fact that you did it. And you affected lives traumatically. And for me to be 11 or 10, that was the hardest pill I think I've ever had to swallow outside of being put in foster care. I may still be pissed, but I also, in a manner, want to thank you. Because if you hadn't did what you did, all of the events that we've been through in this life so far wouldn't have made me who I am today. So my experience of going through racism at 11 or 10 years old offset my story. It changed some things, but it didn't break me. And as a 26-year-old today, I can say I have rioted. I can say instead of being in the back, I will stand in the front. I am a leader in God's eyes, and I know that I have a purpose. I'm not here to please humanity, so I'm not interested in who's staying against me. But I will not stop until God says to stop. Everybody has a purpose, and I'd like to help myself and other people find that purpose. And that's what I'm here for. I don't look like your average model. I don't have, your average ideal, everything. But that's what makes me me. That's what makes me uniquely, amazingly Black, beautiful, and I'm a queen, and I am inspired by everything that's around me. So all lives matter to me. And if you ever face racism, just make sure that it does not become you. Because you are stronger than that. I'm Stephh The Model, and this is my story.